And we're live, everybody. Everybody, welcome to Bloody Mary Brunch. After a week's hiatus, sorry, everybody. I had some meetings last week, so I had to postpone and not have Bloody Mary Brunch, which didn't make me very happy because I didn't get my normal Bloody Marys on Thursday, which kind of pissed me off. Today, we're going to talk Bermuda Triangle. I have with me my buddy that's been on here with me before. We talked about the World Wars for about 4 hours. The Rambling Canuck. What's going on, man?
Not much.
Would you like to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Robert Arnolds1. I am on YouTube, of course, under Rambling Canuck. I do live streams and which is just sci-fi like Star Wars, Star Trek, etc. Sometimes I even dabble into the wrestling. And I also do Star Trek Picard reviews.
And you can also you can find his channel link in the description below the stream. I have his YouTube channel link there. And on your YouTube channel, does it have a link for your Twitter?
No, because I have a link for my Discord in most of my videos.
Okay. But yeah, you can search him out on Twitter and subscribe to his YouTube channel below. And let's see, StreamYard is being funny because it's showing nobody's watching, and I know that's not true because there's people in the chat. Good old StreamYard. So Canuck and I, we talked a little bit a week or so ago, and we decided today to talk about something that's a little bit weirder than the World Wars. And I know people have their own opinions on it. We've both picked a case, and we're going to talk about our case of the Bermuda Triangle today, and then we'll kind of wrap it up, I think, with our own little discussion of some different theories people have and maybe our own personal thoughts on what we think is going on. So we'll start with the basics. I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar with it, but I'll pull a map up of the Bermuda Triangle. And the Bermuda Triangle goes from Miami to Puerto Rico up to Bermuda and then back to Miami. That's the Bermuda Triangle proper when people talk about the Bermuda Triangle. And the cases we're talking about today happen within this triangle, and it's I want to say it's, and you may remember better than me. It encompasses what, like 200,000 miles or something like that.
Yeah,
total.
It's a crazy amount of space.
Yeah, it's like 200,000 miles of mostly open ocean, other than the little bit of land masses here and there. So it's basically just a big open expanse of water for the most part. That, as you'll see, we tell our stories, and I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it, that weird stuff kind of tends to happen there and has been happening there for a long period of time. The earliest mention I could find of the Bermuda Triangle was Christopher Columbus in 1492 noted in one of his logs or diaries that when they went through the area of the Bermuda Triangle, the compass readings were all out of whack. The compasses weren't working right. And that they also sighted strange lights at night around the ship. So that's the earliest Bermuda Triangle thing I could find anyway, in all the research I did for the show. So I don't think it gets much earlier than that as far as written. I'm sure there could be some anecdotal, but as far as actual written evidence, that's the earliest I could find about the Bermuda Triangle. DJ Odyssey, Anthony, Dark Gift Comments, what's up? Jesse Miller, good to see y'all.
Hey, DJ.
So today I'm going to talk about Flight 19, which is the Lost Flight 19 is, if you've heard much about the Bermuda Triangle, it's kind of one of the more popular Bermuda Triangle legends or stories or whatever you want to call it. So today I'm going to talk about Flight 19. And I'll go on and I found a map of the actual route that Flight 19 was set to take, which will actually also coincide with the story. And I shall get back to the right tab. I'll pull it back so it's not just the map. So Wednesday, December 5th, 1945, the weather started out sunny and bright. It was a typical Florida morning at Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, and it should have been excellent flying conditions. They were set to do a series of bombing exercises that day to train new crews of student aviators In command of one of these sorties was 28-year-old Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor. Aside from 4 veteran pilots, most of the airmen were inexperienced flyers, hence the training mission, with an average of just 20 to 30 hours of flying time apiece. So Taylor had to kind of wrangle all them in. Taylor had been in World War II and had a lot of flying experience. He was the most experienced pilot of the whole training mission. So everything seems normal. They get ready for their training mission. Flight 19 took off at 2:10 p.m. from NAS Fort Lauderdale, or Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale. It was comprised of 5 TBM Grumman Avenger dive bombers or fighter bombers, whichever they call them. They left Fort Lauderdale and headed east for Hens and Chicken Shoals in the Bahamas. So if we look at the map here that I have pulled up, there where the yellow triangle is, where it's got a number 2, that is Hen and Chicken Shoals. That's where they were supposed to do a mock bombing run. Was it Hen and Chicken Shoals? So number 1 is NAS Fort Lauderdale. So they leave NAS Fort Lauderdale, supposed to fly to number 2 there, Hen and Chicken Shoals, and do their training run, training these newer pilots to do bombing runs. Get back to the right tab. There we go. So they were to carry out a mock bombing run at pre-designated area. Then they were to continue 90 degrees for 73 miles before turning 346 degrees north and heading that direction for 73 miles. They were also practicing dead reckoning navigation, which is why they're talking about degrees and miles. Is part of it was to practice the bombing run, part of it was to practice dead reckoning navigation. So they were going to do their bombing run, then continue 90 degrees for 73 miles. So that goes back to the map. They were going to go past number 2, Hen and Chicken Shoals, and keep flying until they hit number 3 on the map. And after they hit number 3 on the map, that's when they were supposed to turn 346 degrees north and then head in that direction for 73 more miles. So that would have us going up towards number 4. So they get to 3, make a turn, go up to 4. And then they were supposed to turn 241 degrees, which is number 4 on the map I'm showing. They would turn 240 degrees, and that would point them back towards Fort Lauderdale. So that would be a southwest flight for 120 miles, which would take them back to Fort Lauderdale. And the total time for this practice mission or practice run was supposed to be 2 to 3 hours flight time. So that's the basic rundown. As they go from 1 to 2, do a little bombing run, practice bombing run where the yellow triangle is, hit 3, turn up towards 4, hit 4, turn back towards 5 using dead reckoning navigation. So everything starts out normal. They do their mock bombing run, at Hen and Chicken Shoals. Everything seems to be fine. They drop their torpedoes without any issues. But then by 3:40 p.m., that was the first signs that something was not quite right with their flight. Several of the crewmen expressed feelings of discomfort and disorientation as they made their final turn back towards home. They noticed that hardly anything looked familiar. So when they're supposed to be making their turn there at number 4 on the map is when they kind of start to not feel right about what's going on. So they comment that nothing looks familiar. At the same time, at Fort Lauderdale, that this is happening, another training mission, another squadron of 5 Grumman torpedo bombers was getting ready to do the exact same mission. And Lieutenant Robert Cox was leading that mission. And as he's leaving Fort Lauderdale, he hears a distress call from Flight 19. Cox would later recount to have overheard an airman desperately asking for a position check, but no one could give an accurate answer in Flight 19's squadron group. Cox intercepted the transmission, and he was close enough that he asked what the problem was, and to his surprise, a pilot that identified himself as Lieutenant Taylor, who was the leader of the training sortie, responded with an ominous communication that would forever be cemented in the Bermuda Triangle lore. His statement was, "Both my compasses are out, and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how far down, and I don't know how to get back to Fort Lauderdale." So if you, no, it's not on this map. Let's see if it's on the other map. No, it's not. Anybody that knows anything about Florida, the Keys is like way down below where they would be at Fort Lauderdale. It's like way off the bottom of the map. It's on the very, southern tip of Florida. So it would be way far away from where they're supposed to be. So let me pull my article back up. The other training mission, confused by the statement, Cox radioed back to the base, which had also been tracking their radio transmissions, and requested assistance for the beleaguered flight. He then advised Taylor to put the sun on his port wing and fly north up the coast of Florida. Since his compasses were out, that would give him a way to navigate back towards where he needed to be. If he was really in the Keys, that would get him back to mainland Florida. At the same time, a ground crew at Port Everglades also was monitoring the transmissions, and they also offered assistance. At the time, it was a very clear day, but Taylor appeared unable to find the sun, but insisted the flight would turn northeast in order to avoid flying out over the Gulf of Mexico. To make things even more complicated, none of the in-flight navigators could accurately place their position. So you have some veteran pilots, but then you also have some newer airmen, and the whole point of this mission is to practice dead reckoning navigation. So you have some seasoned pilots, but you also have some unseasoned guys, and now they've hit trouble, and they're trying to figure out where they are, and none of them can figure out where they are, and the compasses, etc., aren't working. Terrell was asked to switch radio frequencies because his signal was fading out, but for some inexplicable reason, he insisted on maintaining his current channel, then changed course once more in hopes of finding a recognizable landmark. So I think at this time he's kind of in like panic mode because he realizes that something isn't right, and he doesn't even want to follow the suggestions of the other squadrons that are out and of ground control, and he's kind of got tunnel vision. By this time, numerous ground bases had been alerted to the squadron's apparent distress, but they could do little more at this point than monitor radio transmissions and offer course corrections, most of which Taylor just didn't even acknowledge, as he went slowly out of radio contact because he would not change frequencies. To make things worse, on top of this already happening, by 4:30, the weather began to deteriorate, which meant the crew was risking having to navigate in poor conditions. No mean feat for experienced navigators, let alone a crew of basically raw recruits that are not used to navigating. Because at that time, they didn't have all the GPS and electronics and all that stuff. They're using like compasses and things like that.
Yeah, they're old timing it.
Yeah, I think I already said it a minute ago, but that's what they were doing, practicing dead reckoning navigation. Is you fly at a known distance for a certain amount of time, then you make a turn a certain degree and fly a known distance for a certain amount of time. It's kind of like using your compass and watch basically to navigate.
Yeah.
So that's basically what they were practicing for anybody in the chat that's not familiar with that. At 5:15 p.m., Taylor reported that the flight was going to turn west in order to reach what he assumed would be Florida. But by then, Port Everglades had advised their fuel reserves would not hold out much longer. The situation was confirmed 5 minutes later when Taylor made what would be his last communication to Fort Lauderdale. Ground-based. Let's see. I think I went too far. Oh yeah, we'll continue to fly. This was the last message that they received from him on the radio. We'll continue to fly 207 degrees west until we hit landfall or run out of gas. So they're still totally disoriented. Now they're also running low on gas. So even though he couldn't talk to them anymore, they could still monitor his conversations. So they monitored the crewmen, the conversations amongst the squadron, for over an hour. And one of the last things they heard is, we'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the last plane drops below 10 gallons, we will all go down together.
Huh.
So as the reality of what was going on struck ground staff, a short time later, the full scale of tragedy was yet to be realized. As first light began to fade, they scrambled 2 PBM Martin Mariner aircraft, which were like flying boat kind of aircraft. They were diverted from their own training flights to help search for the lost Flight 19 squadron. At 7 p.m., those two planes split from each other to cover a wider area of the ocean and the ground. But about half an hour later, one of the mariners reported a radio check, and then almost immediately it too went silent. So just to add even more to the mystery.
Yeah. One of the search planes goes bye-bye.
Yeah, so now the Navy have 6 planes to look for, not just 5. So hundreds of aircraft scoured the entire area of anywhere they thought any of these aircraft would be, and trying to locate anything, wreckage or anything. They finally called the search off on December 10th, and more than 930 sorties had been flown in search of the lost squadron and the missing Mariner plane, but nothing was ever found. And for more than 70 years, they still haven't found anything. Flight 19 or the missing Mariner aircraft.
Well, unless you watch that movie, then they found it. There you go, DJ. I mentioned it for you.
Oh yeah, I'm reading something else. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat.
He mentioned it a while back when you first started talking about it. In the movie, they find them. They're in the desert.
Oh, yeah, I know what movie you're talking about.
Worlds.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah. One of those alien attack movies. Yeah. They find them.
Close Encounters.
Yeah, Close Encounters. There we go.
Close Encounters. Yeah, they find something else from the Bermuda Triangle too in Close Encounters, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember 100%, but
one of the things that they hint to finding is one of the things that you and I talked about privately is the was it catapoxia, however you say it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that they supposedly find too in the desert.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, in real life, it's actually found. But 90 years later.
But I'm not ignoring the chat. I'm reading off my notes. But hey, Fatal J, yeah, this is not actually the whole Bermuda Triangle. This is the mission that Flight 19 was supposed to be actually flying that day that they disappeared. So let's see. The Navy, of course, placed the blame on Lieutenant Taylor, saying that it was pilot error to lead to a miscalculation in navigation and doomed the flight to crash somewhere unknown in the ocean. But then,
when in doubt, blame the pilot.
Oh yeah, everything runs downhill. So they're going to obviously blame it on the easiest person to blame it on, somebody that's not there.
Yeah,
we'll blame it on the leader of the squadron. He obviously screwed up.
Yeah. What was the lowest rank there? Oh, that dude.
It was him.
Yeah, anybody but us.
But it still made people question how they got lost so easily, because when the flight left and when they started the flight, it was a super bright, clear, sunny day. There was no clouds. It was like perfect flying weather. You couldn't ask for any more perfect flying weather. Excuse me. Of course, and there's been embellishments over the years, and I tried to find the best account I could without extra stuff thrown into it, because there's lots of things that have been added about them, like entering whitewater and UFOs were chasing them, and typical Bermuda Triangle kind of stuff. People have added their own things to make it even more weird and crazy than it is. So if you talk about the Bermuda Triangle, you're always going to end up talking about UFOs.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
but like this article said, if you actually look at the actual transcript of the transmissions, they never mention anything about flying objects or strange phenomenon. So many theorists just tend to ignore that.
I think one of these days the aliens are actually going to come. They're going to land. All they're going to say is they're going to like open up the door to their ship. They're going to walk out and go, "Quit blaming us for your shit." Fuck off.
We don't mutilate cattle. We don't steal people or airplanes, and we don't want anything to do with your buttholes.
Yeah. Quit blaming us for your shit. No,
and then they just get back in their aircraft or their spaceship and leave. Yeah. As they do, they like flip everybody off as they take off.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think part of the problem was that the navigators that were on the mission, that were on this training mission, of course, to get more training, were too young and inexperienced to properly guide their planes back home. And that and this goes back to what I was talking about. And others don't know that the exercise also employed strategic navigational technique called dead reckoning, which I kind of already explained.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1945, this technique was far from perfect. And a rookie navigator, you can only guess how hard it would be for somebody just basically trying to learn to do it, and then things go wrong, and you have no idea where you are, and you're still trying to dead reckon your way back home.
Yeah, and I mean, just if you go to a new town or something, and you know how to get from like the hotel to the bar to the cafe around the corner, and then you end up going for a stroll, and then you get that sudden realization, wait a fucking minute, I don't know where the fuck I am, and I don't remember which turn I made.
Which sounds exactly like the radio transmission.
Yeah. You're like 4,000 feet.
And that sounds exactly like the radio transmission that you hear from the flight when things start going wrong. Is nothing looks familiar, nothing looks right.
Yeah.
I have no idea where the fuck I am. Another part of, and I briefly touched on this, of dead reckoning navigation is you also use a clock or a watch, but none of the planes had timekeeping devices installed, and most of the men had their watches, but for some reason none of the men could find the sun during the latter half of the exercise, or any time during the exercise for some odd reason. Towards the end, it's because the weather deteriorated, and then with darkness closing in, it would have been harder and harder for them to find a recognizable landmark, to try to dead reckon off of. Of course, it suggested the Bermuda Triangle has certain magnetic qualities, so that could be why it was reported that both of his compasses quit working.
Yeah, it's just toast. Yeah, it has some interesting little things. Plus, I mean, it's got all that magnesium at the bottom too, so that can turn into gas and blow things up.
But let's see, should we discuss the theories of what they really think happened to it, or should we hold that to the end?
Well, you can go ahead I can do mine, and then we can go with that, whichever you prefer.
Let me. I'll stop sharing that, and I'll start sharing this. Switch tabs here again. Doop doop doo. We're doing it live, people. Trying to switch between tabs, and I haven't had enough Bloody Marys to be good at switching between tabs yet.
And let's knock on wood, no updates for either of us.
Well, I'm on my Linux box today.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm not using my green screen. Is I'm on my Linux box today, so you get to see my office as a background instead of seeing a green screen. But this is actually a really good video from the YouTube channel Bedtime Stories. If you're into like weird stuff or like creepy stuff, they do like a lot of stuff like that. So let me switch tabs again.
I watched that Olympic thing. That's funny.
So they I need to open that actually in another tab so I can make it bigger. Just a moment, everybody.
That Olympic documentary is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I like a lot of their stuff is actually really good. Ah, fuck it. I don't feel like messing with it. Well, no, I can. Wait a minute. Hold tight, everybody. No, that didn't work right. Okay, I'm just going to share what I got because that, for whatever reason, didn't work right. So a lot of the theory, the first theory with the Mariner aircraft, that took off to help rescue or find Flight 19, the Martin Mariner, or big flying boat aircraft, is how I would describe it. It was known for having issues with fuel leakage. So sometime after the two aircrafts split from each other, a ship did report seeing a large explosion in the air, like a big fireball. So the theory behind that is that the seaplane basically had an accident and exploded. It just so happened it happened on the same night as the whole thing with Flight 19. But if you look here at the map, this shows the keys. If you look, well, I got the thing paused, but if you look down towards the bottom where the green circle is at the bottom of the blue line, the light blue line, that is where the Florida Keys is. That's where he thought he was at. Which, as you see, is way off course.
Yeah, he done fucked up. Whoops, sorry.
If he was in the Florida Keys, he was way off course.
Yeah, he done messed up.
Well, as you see here at the top, how did he account for the fact that he arrived over the Florida Keys in half the time it should have taken for him to fly down there? So at this point, it says perhaps he assumed he'd hit a tailwind. I think at this point he was so disoriented that he looked down and saw broken land. He's like, "Oh, look, it's the Keys." Mm-hmm. Okay, I think he was wanting so bad to find something that he recognized, because everything was going horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna have my ass.
But the red line is the original flight path that I discussed, where they're doing the bombing run. But what a lot of people think is, instead of making the turn for them to make the actual triangle, which is, it's kind of ironic that they were doing a triangle flight path in the Bermuda Triangle. Anyway, where he was supposed to, at the red line, turned up to make like the bottom of a triangle. Instead, he kind of veered at a different degree than what he thought he was, because of compasses and all that stuff being messed up, and actually flew over some other of the Bahama Islands. Well, then when he made a course change and flew down to the small green circle at the end of the line, that's a part of the Abacos in the Bahamas. And if you see them from the air, they look very similar to the Florida Keys. So he was supposed to fly over Grand Bahama Island. So a lot of people think that he flew over these other parts of the Bahamas and thought that was Grand Bahama. Well, then he made a turn back kind of southwest and flew over part of the Abacos. And that's when he thought he was over the Keys.
Now, did they say if they checked that area? Like after, like some.
Well, it keeps going. With all the course changes, this is the theory of the way that they think Flight 19 actually went.
Okay.
So you fly up, you fly down, you go over part of the Abacos. He kind of goes back northwest slightly again, and then kind of shoots northeast. So they think at some point around where this area is of the smaller circle or even the bigger circle is where they actually ended up going down at. And that's why they're saying, they've never been able to find the aircraft. So that's the popular theory of what actually happened. The funny thing is, it wasn't that many years ago they actually found 5 of those torpedo bombers in the ocean. And a lot of people are like, hey, it's Flight 19. It's been found. You can actually still find articles that say Flight 19 has been found. But they actually checked, like serial numbers and stuff, and it was not Flight 19. So what's the likelihood of that? In the same area, 5 of the same airplanes being found on the bottom of the ocean. That's kind of weird. But
yeah, that was Flight 22. They just didn't mention that one going missing.
yeah,
Too much publicity.
Yeah, they're like, we've already lost Flight 19. We don't want to just have like a couple flights later and miss all, lose all them. But it is kind of odd that it's the exact same, aircraft.
Yeah, exactly.
And our last stream we did together, we were talking about World War II and all that, and that's actually the torpedo bomber that was responsible for sinking, like a lot of the Japanese aircraft and stuff in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Was those torpedo bombers that they were flying on Flight 19. So that's kind of the popular theory, is that they said there several times that his junior aviators were frustrated with what he was wanting to do, because he was dead set on, no pun intended, that he thought he was where he was when in fact, he wasn't.
Yeah.
And they kept wanting to turn different ways, but due to their inexperience and him being the lead pilot, and of course the structure of the military, they didn't want to do their own thing and then get in trouble. If they did, if they all made it back, they didn't want to get in trouble for disobeying, an officer,
Especially if it turned out he was right.
Yeah. So, those two things together basically made for a bad combination of him getting super disoriented, them believing what he believed, and then when they didn't believe what he believed, they didn't want to go against the superior officer, so they basically just all followed each other out into the night.
Screwed if you don't.
They did a 5-day search of the whole area. Everywhere around that general area. Like I said, they flew 900 and something sorties looking for the Flight 19 and looking for the amphibious plane.
Back there, Hunster. I gotta run to the washroom here. Excuse me.
Okay. And all these searches didn't turn up anything. They never found a life raft, a piece of the plane. They never found any of the crew. But a lot of people think that's because they all died and the planes disintegrated in ditching them in the ocean, because the Avenger apparently didn't have the best record of making water landings. It was not known for handling that very well. Let's see that about. Oh, I was talking about the PBM Martin Mariner, the flying boat, so to speak. This kind of goes to what I was talking about earlier. Is they mentioned that the PBM Martin Mariners were prone for fuel leaks, and a random spark could ignite the aircraft mid-flight. Yeah, that's the aircraft I would want to fly.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, by the way, Canuck, this airplane is. It's kind of prone for fuel leaks. No biggie. It's just mid-flight, it can start leaking fuel everywhere. I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah, and you know what? We really hate having ashtrays on boards. Just flip it out the window, will you?
Yeah, and try not to cause any sparks or flames, because I mean, no big deal, but you could blow the whole airplane up.
Yeah,
just something to keep in mind while we're out here flying.
Yeah,
but and this was what I had mentioned earlier. The crew of the tanker SS Gaines Mills reported an explosion in midair at exactly the same time the plane fell off the radar in exactly the same area it was last reported. So they're thinking the explanation of the Mariner is it basically blew up because it was apparently a flying bomb and people still flew it for some reason.
Pilot decided to have a cigarette.
Yeah. Do y'all smell gas? I don't know. Let me light my lighter and see if I can see a leak back here.
Kaboom! Oh darn!
But yeah, this is what I was talking about. That kind of ties into our last stream we did with each other. The TBM Avenger was responsible for sinking both Yamato-class battleships of the Imperial Japanese Navy during the Pacific War. An amazing achievement in itself, but one that is unfortunately overshadowed by the infamy of this tragic incident. Mm. So yeah, Captain Taylor. That was the thing about Captain Taylor, is he had flew in the Pacific. I mean, he was a well-hardened and battle-tested soldier. So he kind of went off the rails a bit, it seems like, in this case for some reason. But
yeah,
he had flown in the Pacific, and like I said, he had more hours than anybody. He had flown actual missions in the Pacific in World War II. So if anybody was prepared to lead the mission, you would think it was him. But it seems like for some reason he kind of went off the rails that day. But in a nutshell, that's my case that I picked. Is
okay,
Flight 19. It's probably it's one of the better well known, I think, if you start just looking generally at Bermuda Triangle cases. But
so I went for a little bit older. I went for the USS Cyclops,
which is also a good. It's also a good case.
Yeah, it went missing in 1918. It was I've got the wiki up in case I forget something, but I think I'll just kind of give you the main gist of it. It was a coal carrier for the U.S. Navy. Now, on the particular voyage where it goes missing, a few things get changed up. One, it's not carrying coal; it's carrying ore, which is a different different way of handling it. It never carried that before. It was the first time it had ever carried that kind of material before. And right before it takes it leaves to depart back to the States, because guess what? They're having engine trouble. So, oh joy.
Oh,
right.
That's great.
Yeah, so they get ordered back to the States for repairs. So they leave, and then the ship goes. They depart, and they're basically never heard from again. There's no, unlike with your case, there's no radio for help. There's no SOS. There's no damn, we hit something. There's nothing, and then they send a search party out for them, and they don't respond. There's no sign of any wreckage. The ship's just gone.
Which makes it even a stranger mystery. Like you said, in mine, there's at least transcripts of actual radio communication almost leading to the point where they more than likely ditched in the sea.
But wait, there's more.
Oh. It's like an infomercial. Right. But wait, there's more.
See, because I'm a Titanic nut, this one really I like, because this ship had 3 sisters.
Oh, when you said you were going to do this one, I did look into it a little bit, and yeah, I saw what you're talking about.
This ship has 3 sisters. The first sister ship that I'll talk about and I'm going to try to get the names here, but some of them are kind of brutal, so bear with me here. Okay, so the sister ships, it started out as the USS Jupiter. However, it was changed to the USS Langley because they converted it to the United States' first aircraft carrier.
So they took a normal, like, basically cargo ship.
Yeah.
And made it an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, that's right. Converted it to the United States' first aircraft carrier. However, in 1941, it kind of got sunk by the Japanese. So, yeah, there's 2 down. And now it gets really weird. So the next 2 are the USS Proteus, Proteus, and the USS Nereus. So Nereus? Sure, we'll go with Nereus.
Yeah, they can never make it easy names like the
No,
USS.
no, of course not.
It can't be like the USS Bob.
Yeah. All right.
It has to be some weird name.
Okay, so now both these 2 sister ships of the Cyclops, this is where it gets really bloody, just crazy. So the Proteus is gets transferred up to the Canadian Merchant Navy. Right on. So yay for Canada.
Oh, them shifty Canucks. I knew it was something to do with you.
So here's the best part. Both of her sisters, these 2, go missing without a trace in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh.
How's that for a kick in the head?
Yeah.
One gets sunk during World War II as an aircraft carrier, and the other 2 go missing suspiciously, basically in the same spot that their sister ship did.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the flying boat. I would ask before I got on the ship. I'd be like, "Is this a sister ship of the Cyclops by any chance?"
Well, and the best part, like the best part about it is, anytime that they changed from coal to ore, that's when these ships go missing.
Yeah. So apparently there's something about the ore that doesn't agree with these ships.
Yeah. And the other the other fun one is there's a long space between the Cyclops and I think it's the Proteus that goes missing first. And there's like 23 years or something between the 2.
Oh man, okay.
Right.
So yeah, a long time.
Well, 1918, and then the other one goes missing in 41. Yeah, man. 41.
That thing was in service for a long time.
Okay, so now get this, right? The Proteus goes missing November the 25th, 1941. Okay. The Nereus goes missing December 10th, 1941. Almost a month apart.
That's crazy.
Yeah, following the same route.
Oh, that's super crazy.
Yeah. Same.
Not to interrupt you, but yeah. Well, yeah, that's also another name for the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Triangle, right?
Yeah, Devil's Triangle.
So, that's what we're talking about, Tommy. Incidents and explanations of things in Bermuda Triangle. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, some people claim the Cyclops it had like a really flat bottom. So some of the people figure it's a rogue wave that took it out. That it got hit by a rogue wave. Rogue wave would flip it because it's got a flat bottom. It's kind of big, like oversized for the time. and they had a tendency to rock really easy because they were kind of top heavy.
Yeah.
So stability wasn't exactly their strong point. They were built for cargo and for speed, not necessarily, a gust of wind coming up and rocking at 50 degrees. No big deal.
They were built to get as much cargo as cheaply as possible from point A to point B.
Yeah, absolutely. And also another thing that people thought about was the fact that they carried coal for so many years that quite possibly that it could have degraded the steel. The other thing that they had was because they switched to a different type of cargo, which was the ore, that maybe the ore wasn't stored properly. And then on the Cyclops, the other thing was the engine trouble. So they think maybe complete engine failure.
Yeah, which would leave it helpless to whatever was going on in the ocean at the time.
Yeah.
With no way to navigate.
No.
Or turn into waves or whatever.
Yeah, so they think complete engine failure. But the problem is even with complete engine failure, they should have been able to get something out. A flare, something.
Yeah, or an SOS or something.
Yeah, SOS, something. And nothing. Nada. Not oh shit, we're in trouble. Not just absolutely nothing.
Which would suggest to me that shit went bad so fast that there was,
yeah.
A well-trained radio man, I'm pretty sure, could get out of SOS pretty quick. So that basically means stuff went wrong so bad, so fast that nobody could do anything but basically just disappear.
Yeah, they're just gone. And then, like I say, the screwed up part is, they go missing. The Cyclops goes missing in 1918, and then in 1941, her two sister ships go missing almost a month apart in the exact same area.
You would think at the second one.
Yeah.
I know it was a long time apart, but you would think at the second one somebody would be like, "Wait a minute, there's something fishy going on," and I can't believe they got anybody to be crew on the third one.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? We're going to take that same route. Maybe you'll find them, If you see them, can you tell them to report back, please? Son of a bitch. Yeah, but it's just like, it's crazy because, you get one ship, then you get the second one and there's conflicting. Like, I watched one video where they say the Japanese sunk the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And then on Wiki, it says that it was critically damaged by the Japanese, but the United States sunk it with with torpedoes because it was.
Oh, they
scuttled it.
Yeah, they scuttled it. So when, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. I found a picture of the Cyclops so everybody can see what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find the actual picture. Hopefully this is it, not Pornhub. Probably shouldn't leave those tabs open while I'm streaming.
Yeah, that would be bad.
There we go. This is what Canuck's talking about. That's the USS Cyclops, and I'm assuming that other than the one that was made an aircraft carrier, I'm assuming that her sister ships were still similar to this in design.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm if I remember right, the superstructure, that's all stuff for like loading and unloading the coal and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then but yeah, so it was the biggest coal carrier for the US Navy at the time.
So, and I'm only assuming this, but especially if it's carrying cargo or coal for the Navy, I'm assuming that they didn't really worry too much about load ratings.
Yeah, probably not. And the other thing is they when they left their final port, And I'm probably thinking that the only reason they got away with it was they were the U.S. Navy, but
Yeah.
apparently it was like every ship has a line on the hull.
Yeah, like the water line or whatever you want to call it.
Where the water should be under, and if it's over, that means they're overweight. Well, from some eyewitnesses, the ship was lower in the water than it should have been, so it's overweighted.
Yeah, which is going to affect its seaworthiness.
Yeah,
and like you said, I could see where the superstructure above the deck like that could, especially with a flat bottom, could make it very tippy and very top heavy.
Yeah, and then there's also stories which never were proven. So this is kind of like just people telling wild, crazy,
kind of
I saw Elvis stories, right? I saw Elvis in my Walmart, stuff like that, right? So some people claim that all 3 ships were taken by pirates, and that they were seen as pirate ships throughout the Caribbean, but that's never been proven.
Yeah, I mean,
something that big, you're gonna find it.
The last 2 were, you said, in the 40s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as late as the 40s. I mean, that's something that's going to be known. I mean, there's, it's obviously not like now with the internet and all that stuff, but I mean, they still had wireless communication and stuff. I mean, obviously these ships are kind of, unless they really changed the way they looked, they're very specific looking ships.
Yeah.
So
and it's just crazy to me because it's just insane that 3 out of 4 are gone, and they all went like within the same area. And some idiot thought it was a great idea. Well, we're just going to send them on the exact same run.
Yeah.
Because that worked out so great the last 2 times.
the second one didn't make it. I'm sure a third time's a charm.
Yeah, third time's charm, but
third time's a charm. Just send them right through.
Yeah.
Just send them right through the same area, man. Yeah. I'm sure the other 2, that was just
that's just bad luck. Bad day in the office.
Third time's a charm. We're gonna get that coal through.
Yeah, we'll be ore. And that was the other kind of coincidence, is every time they changed it from carrying coal to something else, that's when stuff would go south.
Which leads you to believe that the ore, like you said, possibly it was weakened from the coal, but then it also makes it sound like either the ore I can't fucking think of the word I'm trying to think, made a problem from the coal worse. Like if the coal weakened the structure of the ship for some reason, the ore made it worse. Maybe a difference in weight or the way the cargo was carried. I have no idea the difference between ore and coal or what the difference is in them. But I have read what you're talking about, that they think possibly one or the other basically eroded or ate the superstructure to where the ship's basically buckled.
Yeah, and then
come apart.
And then the other, just because the story doesn't have enough, stupidity to it, the captain at the time was of German descent. So some people think that he was pro-German and that he basically gave the ship to Germany.
Yeah.
But there's no records of the Germans doing it. And the other thing that they were thinking of was German U-boats, but there's no record of a German U-boat being in the area at the time that the ships went missing.
Well, yeah, and you would think after World War II, when all the records came out.
Well, this is back World War I, because this is 1918, remember?
Never mind. I'm behind.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking about the 40s. Yeah, you're talking about World War I.
So the first one that goes missing, the captain's of German descent. He's slightly an alcoholic, and the crew slightly hates him. So the other one, the really far out there one, is that there was a mutiny gone bad.
So I'm still trying to see how that would make the ship disappear. I mean, I could see mutiny gone bad, but did they scuttle the ship? Is that what they're trying to say?
Possibly, yeah. But yeah, basically just the setup for the Cyclops alone. Never mind the fact that the other two ships go missing later on in the 40s in going on the same route because that worked so great the first time.
Yeah.
But this one is so weird because I mean, like they're starting. We're in World War One. They're a U.S. Navy ship captained by a German.
I mean, honestly, the only people more shady than the Germans are the Canadians.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't go that far, but
that's my joke for the day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then so then you get people go. Of course, if once they hear that the captain's German right away, he's got to be pro-German, and he gave it to the Germans.
Oh, yeah, the crowd.
Right,
the crowd.
Yeah,
gave it for the Hun. Didn't they call him the Hun or
Huns,
something?
Huns World War One.
Yeah.
Kraut World War Two. But yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, all four ships were doomed for the bottom of the sea, which made me think of the Titanic because all three of those.
Oh yeah, because all of the sister ships of the Titanic also met fate similar.
Yeah. Oh, except for the Olympic. The Olympic finally, was the only one that survived. But it had its nice little puncture wound to the side.
Yeah, it had its own speed bumps that just didn't sink.
Yeah. Unless you believe the conspiracy theory, but
yeah, that could be a whole other
ball of wax.
Yeah, that could be a whole other stream talking about the Titanic and the Olympic and all that stuff.
Two or three parter.
Yeah, that could go on for quite a time.
But yeah, the Olympic was almost sunk.
In the end, it was
almost
the victor.
sunk herself because it was her propellers that pulled the boat in. But that's besides the point.
I can state from personal experience that, and not on the scale of what we're talking about, but a friend of mine built a 20-foot boat. It's if anybody knows anything about boats, the design of the boat is a dory, which is like a classic fishing boat design, but it's a flat bottom boat. And it's funny, we were talking about Flight 19 in the Keys. We would take it on fishing trips. We would all go down to the Keys, and if you take it into heavy seas, a flat bottom boat does not do well in heavy seas.
No,
at all. It rocks in a different way than a V-shaped hull. It's much more violent when it does, ride waves. And this is just a 20-foot boat, so I could only imagine a boat that big carrying as much cargo as it was, like in tonnage wise.
Well, to give you an idea, because I'll to give the chat an idea, I'm gonna try to find the exact specs here. Okay, so she was carrying 10,800 long tons or 11,000 tons of magnesium ore or manganese ore. There we go, manganese ore. There we go. I can speak English. Yay. Let me see if I can find the actual specs for it. Here we go. Okay, so the displacement was 19,670 tons fully loaded. The length was 542 feet. Beam is 65 feet. Draft is 27 feet. Speed is 15 knots. 15 knots top speed. Complement 236 officers. They actually put guns on this thing. Wow, cool. But yeah, so that's its basic dimensions. But its displacement in the water is 19 1,670 tons fully loaded.
Yeah, so I can't tell if there's guns in this picture or not.
They're 4x4, 4-inch 100 millimeter guns. So they're nothing major.
Yeah, and they would probably be in the 4 section, maybe above or in front of the main bridge, so to speak. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna be probably.
So my science question would be, although I know we're talking about weird stuff and we're both coming to our own conclusions on stuff. What's the difference of interaction with stuff like metal and salt water of manganese compared to just regular coal?
I think ore would be heavier.
Yeah, than just regular coal.
Yeah, and it's stored differently. Like the way they store coal and the way they store the ore, there's 2 different procedures, and this is the first time the crew's ever done it. Then they get engine problems, so they're only running with 1 engine. So
Yeah, and never mind. I'm not going to talk about it because we can go into it more when we talk about our theories of what actually happens in the Bermuda Triangle. But so what do you? No, go ahead.
And then the other one that I'll slightly touch on because I just think it's kind of cool, and I was
we're just at an hour, so
but
I can't
I can't remember how I don't know how to pronounce it. That's my only problem.
Are you talking about the one that I brought up?
The Cotopaxi.
I've heard it pronounced Cotopaxi. I've heard it pronounced Cotopaxi.
Yeah, Cotopaxi.
Cotopaxi
sounds works.
That's how I would say it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cotopaxi is interesting because it comes back 90 years later. Right? So
it was missing. It was funny when you talked about this because I told you I just listened to a podcast literally like a week before we talked.
Yeah.
About the finding of the Cotopaxi.
Yeah. So
Cotopaxi.
Yeah. So this ship goes missing, similarly like the Cyclops, where it's just poof gone. Nobody hears from it. And then 90 years later, this ship shows up off the coast of Cuba, not Cuba, but Florida, the Caribbean. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere in that area, yeah.
Yeah. So it shows up on the coast. The Coast Guard go out to meet this ship because they keep hailing it and nobody's responding. Okay. So they board the ship and they find out, oh, well, okay, it's the Cotopaxi. So they go in and they find the captain's log. The captain's log ends on the date that the ship went missing.
Yeah, and it on this article, it went missing in 1925 while traveling from Charleston, South Carolina to Havana, Cuba.
Yeah. And then 90 years later, it shows up in Cuba.
It was a steam-powered bulk carrier. So that was what the SS meant, was steamship.
Yeah.
For nautical nerds.
But yeah, it was just crazy because I mean this thing just comes in, there's no bodies, and even the captain's log, it's done the same day that they went missing. There's nothing odd or out of character for it in the captain's log. So there's no, frantic writings of, we've been lost at sea for 10 months or none of that.
Yeah, and there was
just shows up 90 years later, rusted to hell.
There was 32 crew on board. It was also carrying coal, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve Kenobi, good to see you, bro. And Tatsunami, if I'm pronouncing that right. Good to see you. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. If this is your first time here, subscribe, please. We do these crazy streams, and I do some other fun streams. So
Yeah, I'm usually on the non-singing ones.
now I don't do any singing streams. I do name that too.
Okay, yeah. Well, non-musical ones.
Yeah.
I'll leave that one to DJ.
Yeah.
I'll do the history streams. DJ can do the musical streams, and we're good.
And I'm very well, Stig. I hope you're still on the mend. Stig was laid up with the beer virus.
Oh,
and
hear that. I hope you're doing well.
He's from what I remember yesterday. He's pretty much over it. So
great.
That's great, Stig. He was quarantined for a bit and had the beer bug. And from what I remember from talking to him yesterday, he's well on the mend and doing much better. Okay, there he goes. He's been great for 4 days, so he's completely over the beer bug.
That's good to hear.
So what would your theory be of what actually happened to the Cyclops?
To the Cyclops? I think it's just a combination of engine trouble, probably fatigue for the ship, and they probably hit bad weather. Because I mean that area is known for, really quick thunderstorms that just pop out of nowhere. They're not like, slow brewing storms, and sometimes they don't even show up on on modern
like radar.
Yeah, because they're just quick, right? They're flash storms. They show up and they're gone. They don't even hit land. They're just there and then they're gone again.
Apparently Stig is still quarantined, although he is over the beer bug.
Oh, that's good.
So that would kind of lead us, I guess, into the I guess you could call it the second part, because we both and I would also add, like you're talking about, I think either the coal carrying for so many years or the change in cargo and the different chemical makeup of the cargo could have also weakened the superstructure of the ship.
Yeah.
Which put a storm on top of that, and it's a recipe for disaster. And it literally, if it hit a big storm, and like I said, my personal experience, flat bottom boats or ships do not take heavy seas well. It literally could have basically been broke in half.
Yeah.
If the superstructure had been weakened. And I mean, if a ship's broken in half, it's going to sink pretty fucking quick.
Yeah. And it wouldn't take much to even roll it.
And
flip it. And if once it's flipped, you're done.
Yeah, either or is going to explain or.
But the only problem with that theory, really, is there's no debris, right? Like there's not one single life jacket. There's not, there's nothing. It's just gone. So
yeah, that is the odd thing about the
two ships triangle. After that.
Yeah, and in the same area.
In the same area, yeah.
That is the odd thing about the Bermuda Triangle is I can see things like planes or ships disappearing because they're metal, they're heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But you always have buoyant things. Even if a ship in a rogue wave flipped over, you're going to have life jackets, lifeboats, other buoyant items that are going to float. And are going to float for a long time. I mean, a life jacket's not just going to float for a day and then sink. That's kind of the whole point of a life jacket is it floats.
Well, I mean, some of the older ones maybe because they're cork, but
like the old Titanic style cork life jacket.
Yeah. So those maybe because they're cork. If they get waterlogged, you're just as fucked. And then they actually you're just screwed because then you get two problems. Once they get waterlogged, now they're heavy as hell, and they're dragging you to the bottom.
Yeah. So that could lead us into part 2 or 3, however we would like to put this. I guess it could be part 2. We both did our stories and our theories. So I basically just pulled up an article about. They say it's mystery conspiracy theories, but to me, it's just theories of what's really happening in the Bermuda Triangle.
Did you
And
did you
go
take
ahead.
a look at the blue circles
The blue sir, I'm not familiar what you're talking about, so I don't think I
in the
did.
Bermuda Triangle? They have areas where like they're really dark blue. It's really cool because they're just starting to explore them, and they've got like they show up all in that area, and they cause like eddies in the water, like severe eddies, and they think that could be some of the stuff that causes the ships to go down. And they've got like a whole religion around them.
Really? Yeah. See, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, the blue holes or something like that.
Oh, so it's like anomalies on like the ocean floor that they think is
You can
causing.
see it from the air.
Oh, okay.
And right, like, because basically what it is what they figure has happened is the before the last, I think it was the last ice age, they explained it. But anyway, so you get a whole bunch of rain, and this rain goes down into the ground, causing fissures, and
Okay.
then the water, the ocean rises and then fills it. So you've got like think of a cylinder, right? And then
Okay.
the water's filled it now, so it changes color. I'm gonna see if I can find, because I was just watching something on YouTube about it before we went live. Actually,
I've heard of what you're talking about, not in the ocean, but like on land. There's a lot of them in the Bahamas and places like that they call blue holes.
yeah,
And there's also a bunch in Mexico, and
yeah,
they call them cenotes or something like that in Spanish. But
yeah, and then but they go down, and then like there's one that's right near the ocean, so it brings in the ocean water. Then it goes down, and then they think that there's caverns that connect them all.
okay,
So you end up getting ocean life way inland, a lot further than it should ever be. And they think it's because they're all connected.
yeah, like almost like a big cave system.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool.
I don't know how to pronounce Fenrir fire. Amazing how planes can still disappear in the ocean. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. That could be like a whole multi-part episode on its own.
Yeah.
Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. That's also a very interesting story.
I still laugh. I think that the most, I shouldn't say a lot. No, it is funny. There was a story, and I can't remember exactly when, but there's a story that I read where this flight ends up getting lost during a storm. I think it was during a storm or something, and it was out of one of the Asian airlines, and they couldn't have picked the worst name for a pilot to fly this plane, because basically the long story short is they get lost in the storm and they make the wrong turn and they run out of fuel over the ocean and crash into the ocean. So so life decided to have a sense of humor, and you will never guess what the actual name of the pilot is.
Oh no. Osama bin Laden.
No. Wong Wei. And he he crashes his plane because he went the wrong way.
Oh man, you can't make that stuff up.
It's like, at what point do you get on a plane and hear your captain go, "Hi, I'm your captain today. Wrong way. I'm off this flight."
And you're like, wait a minute.
I'll catch the next one, buddy.
Open the door back up. I just decided I don't think I want to fly on this plane. Oh no, it's good. He's only went the wrong way several times, but he's getting better. It'll be all right.
I'll take the next one. Yeah, it's just funny. But anyway, back to our topic. I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, we do tend to go on tangents when we talk with each other, but that's okay. Yeah. We're still good on time, so that's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
It is hilarious.
It's like,
I mean, it's not hilarious because bad shit happened, but it's still hilarious at the same time.
The ironic timing of that, just plane crashes in the ocean because it went the wrong way. What was the pilot's name? Wrong Way. Oh shit! It's like, wow.
I apologize to anybody that lost family members on
yeah.
Still fucking hilarious.
At that point, you deserve to win your lawsuit. Okay.
Yeah. That should be the only exhibit that they bring to the court.
Yeah.
A picture of him with his name at the bottom. And they're like, and the court's like, yeah, you get your money. Yeah.
We're not even Yankee chain on that one. It's there you go. Payouts in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see. You were talking about the blue holes. And you kind of touched on this on your story about the Cyclops is obviously the ocean is an uncertain place. Storms can brew up all of a sudden, in any oceans like that where all of a sudden a storm could pop up.
Well, and not only that, but there's so many dangers to ships within that area. It's crazy. I mean, like around Bermuda, like the island, there's breakers everywhere. What they call breakers, which is, I think it's calcium deposits. No, limestone. Sorry, is it limestone? Anyway, they grow right underneath the water line.
Yeah.
And a ship hits that and boom, cuts it open like a can opener.
Yeah, and if it's cut open like that, it's
done.
It's just going to go down.
Yeah. And then, I mean, part of the Bermuda part of one of the islands around Bermuda is basically a dormant volcano that's been worn down. Which
could kind of go along with one of the theories, I think. One of the theories, obviously, is rogue waves, which you touched on in your explanation of maybe what happened to the Cyclops. For a long time, I watched a whole special one time. It was on Discovery or something like that. For a long time, they thought basically that captains were just full of shit.
Oh, yeah.
That there was no such thing as rogue waves. They're like, all of a sudden the sea was, normal, maybe a little rolly, but it was all right. And all of a sudden this humongous like tsunami wave comes and people are like, yeah, you're fucking full of shit. You've been fucking
and then they started measuring the bastards.
Yeah. And they started putting out, those buoys. They have those buoys, all places around the world that measure stuff, to do with the ocean and waves and currents. And they started getting data in certain areas of rogue waves where all of a sudden the ocean would be like 6 foot seas or 5 foot seas or whatever. And all of a sudden it's like 30-foot seas for just a second.
Yeah.
And it kind of proved that all these people, like you said, it all goes downhill. Like Flight 19. Obviously it was the lead pilot's fault. He screwed everything up. they were basically saying the same thing about ship captains is, oh, yeah, sure, there's a rogue wave. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden there was like a fucking 50-foot wave. Yeah.
Put down the
Sure.
whiskey bottle, buddy.
Yeah. I'm sure that there was no way you were drinking or anything, right? And he's like, no, I'm serious. They about flipped the boat over. And they're like, yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Those windows are coming out of your check.
Yeah. So that's obviously one of the and anybody that's ever been in that area of the world, even around Florida, like you said, thunderstorms can just suddenly pop up and be super severe, which of course is also going to affect the ocean.
And then there's the trench.
Yeah.
Which is where they think a lot of these ships actually are.
They end up in the trench, and that's part of the reason they can't find them.
Yeah, because they're too deep.
Hold on a second. I had a Bloody Mary malfunction. And another theory, which I think would kind of go along with your dormant volcano thing, I would think, this is just my personal opinion, but methane bubbles. I'm sure if you've looked much into Bermuda Triangle, you've seen the whole methane bubble theory.
Yeah, because they've got a whole bunch of methane on the bottom. Yeah, big patch.
Yeah, and it basically can cause large eruptions of methane and make the sea, and from if I remember it right, it kind of changes the buoyancy of the water, right?
Yeah, it changes to gas.
Similar to that.
It could tip a boat, yeah.
So that's also one of the theories.
Or one of those what would be interesting to find out is a nice little science experiment. I don't know how you do it safely. Would be to wait for one of those for it to bubble up and then throw a match over and see if it accidentally blows up.
Yeah, because that could, things on ships make sparks. So that could explain.
Well, and planes too. If it's evaporating into the air, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Good to see you, DJ. Have a good rest. Have a good nap. Glad you stopped by, man.
Have a good one, DJ.
But yeah, that's kind of like the seaplane we were talking about that just so happened to leak gasoline is like a regular thing. If you had a whole bunch of methane all of a sudden and evaporating up into the sky, and a plane flew through it, obviously engines are fire and explosions. So,
this is boom boom bad.
So if you flew through that and all of a sudden you ignited a cloud of methane, it would basically, I'm assuming, pretty much evaporate the airplane, or mostly evaporate it to where once it did actually hit the ocean, it's gone.
Yeah, it's done. And the pilot's probably toasted before he could ever say, damn it.
Oh yeah. If you flew through a cloud of methane and it exploded, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have any time to Mayday or SOS or anything. You're just going to be incinerated.
Yeah. And
the plane being metal would not necessarily be incinerated, but it would probably blow apart. And
then depending on where it lands,
the ocean would swallow it up, basically. Let's see some of the other theories. And now we're getting into the kind of more tinfoil hat.
Yeah. You've got the aliens.
Oh, we're not even getting to aliens yet. This is another one.
Oh, okay.
One of the more outlandish conspiracy theories centers around the Bermuda Triangle actually being the location of the mythical lost city of Atlantis.
Oh, yes.
When Atlantis was destroyed, it sank to the very bottom of the ocean. While the ruined temples now play host to multitudinous underwater creatures, the great Atlantean fire crystals that once provided so much of the tremendous power and energy that was once found in Atlantis still exist. So they think stuff to do with the city of Atlantis is like swallowing up ships and airplanes.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
Which is outlandish. Actually, that's to me that's more outlandish to what the next topic is, which is what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Aliens. Yeah.
Well, consider how many places do they have now for Atlantis? There's the Bermuda Triangle. There's off like anytime they find a building underwater, Atlantis.
Well, isn't there one that's like in the middle of the desert somewhere that they think it's Atlantis?
Yeah, it's got to be Atlantis. Well, well, before 16 ice ages ago, it was water here.
Yeah. So aliens. Of course, if you have some weird shit go on, it generally at some point or other gets blamed on aliens.
Oh yeah, like I said, one of these days they're gonna land on the White House grounds and just go, "Hey, quit blaming us for your shit."
Yeah. And I have to add, we don't like buttholes.
Yeah,
we don't give a damn about your buttholes, so quit blaming us for the weird butthole stuff that goes on.
It was one time in the 60s. Shut up.
I was really high at the time. It was an accident.
Yeah.
But yeah, they talk about aliens, and people believe that the aliens use the triangle as a portal to travel to and from our planet. So I guess they're saying that there is like a gathering station where they capture people, ships, and aircraft to conduct research. So
yeah,
apparently the whole Bermuda Triangle is like a Stargate, and for whatever reason, they randomly select ships and airplanes to beam to their planet or their area, whatever you want to call it, from here to check out whatever's going on, you know.
Now, and since we're kind of in the weeds.
Oh, yeah. Get the weeds,
I forgot to look this up before we went live, but where's the second triangle? I know it's up near India, right?
Somebody was saying there's one over near like Japan.
Yeah. There's a second Devil's Triangle. It's bigger too.
It's over near Asia. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Because, there's always got to be two.
Forgive my loud mechanical keyboard. Let's see. Got the Bermuda Triangle, of course. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about there. I don't know what they're talking about there. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, they're showing me a bunch of stuff I'm not looking for. This website is a bust. The Devil's Sea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bigger than the Bermuda Triangle.
It's let's see. I'll pull up a
Tommy says it's called the Dragon's Triangle.
Well, the Wikipedia calls it the Devil's Sea, so I don't know if that's the same thing or not. So let me I'll share my screen with. This is what they call the Devil's Sea anyway. So is this no? That's not the one. I guess it's also called the Dragon's Triangle because the name of this image is also the Dragon's Triangle. So
yeah.
I guess it has two names: the Devil's Sea and the Dragon's Triangle.
Yeah.
But that's a picture of the Dragon's Triangle.
Because, there can't just be one.
No.
There's got to be two.
It's not like the Highlander.
No.
Let's see. There's not really not as much research really on that as there is the Bermuda Triangle.
No.
Like the Wikipedia article.
So I've seen Bermuda Triangles mention the Mary Celeste, but then you found out that it was false. What's the story on that one?
Oh, the
I
Mary.
was gonna go look at it, and then I didn't.
We could almost do a whole, and I don't know why it's mentioned in Bermuda Triangle lore unless it goes through there, because it's actually found way far away from the Bermuda Triangle. The Mary Celeste is a very cool story. That's why I was talking about I was going to do it, and then I started looking at it, and I'm like, the fucking Mary Celeste wasn't even anything to do with the Bermuda Triangle.
But it's always in the Bermuda Triangle lore videos all the time.
Let's see.
Maybe
the basics of the Mary Celeste is it was found drifting off the Azores, which is over towards Europe, not the Bermuda Triangle. The ship was carrying.
So did it go missing in the Bermuda Triangle and then they found it over there?
It may have. Maybe that's why they always kind of connect it to the Bermuda Triangle. I may have missed that part. But basically it's found adrift with nobody on board.
Yeah, so it probably went missing. It probably went missing in the Bermuda Triangle, and then.
Yeah, it was carrying 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol that was largely intact. There was still 6 months' supply of food and water, but there was no one on board. The ship's boat was missing, and one of its two pumps had been disassembled, like its bilge pumps had been disassembled, and there was 3.5 feet of water in the bilge of the ship. That could almost be a whole stream by itself.
Yeah,
because basically they find it drifting around the Azores, which is more over towards Europe. It's far away from the Bermuda Triangle. They basically find it drifting near the Azores, and everything is. I mean, obviously they can tell it's been drifting kind of by itself. The sails are kind of fucked up just because apparently whenever everybody left, the sails were still set.
Mm-hmm.
So but other than that, it looks normal, Okay, so Stig says the Azores is outside of Portugal. Oh, they're thought to be the mountaintops of Atlantis. That goes back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But the long short of it is, like I said, we could almost do half of a stream about the Mary Celeste. But they board the ship, and other than the ship's boat and the ship's papers or log, everyone is gone.
Huh.
The crew's gone. The captain's gone. The captain also had his wife and young child on the ship with them. The cargo is still intact. But there's also a frayed rope trailing behind the ship. But the ship is still seaworthy. And another ship actually finds it kind of going around aimlessly. And they hail the ship and can never get anybody. So they get close enough to board the ship and find that there's nobody there. And all their personal effects are still there. It's another one of those stories that you hear kind of embellishments to.
Yeah, and did you read anything about the unsinkable modern ship that went missing, like unsinkable boat that went bye in the Bermuda Triangle?
I must have missed that one.
Oh yeah, so I gotta remember the name of this thing. So anyway, it's basically like a rich guy's yacht. Okay.
So this would be more modern time?
Yeah, modern. So they've got it so that the boat is supposed to be able to, even if it is completely filled with water, this thing is supposed to still float. Okay. So
sounds like the Titanic. Anyway.
Yeah. So he gets off a distress call to the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard get there. There's no ship like there's no boat, there's nothing.
It's just open ocean.
It's just open ocean, and the time frame within the Coast Guard got to his coordinates, the boat should have stayed afloat, because it's one of these where even if it's like completely underwater, like it's a big hole in the bottom of it, it has flotation devices within the hull that should keep this thing afloat, even if you've got like, even if it's completely like just drowned in water.
Which is a smaller version of that would be a Boston whaler. If anybody has ever seen a Boston whaler boat, it's designed that basically you could fill the boat with water and it's still going to float.
Yeah,
because it's basically made out of foam and fiberglass.
Yeah, so this thing was
supposed put a hole in the bottom and it's not going to sink.
Yeah,
anyway,
this thing is supposed to be not able to sink, and it's gone. There's no trace of it, and it's never been found.
What time frame was this? Do you remember? I mean,
like, I know it's recent because it's a modern designed yacht.
Because Bermuda Triangle incidents, the latest thing I can find was 2017, but it was an airplane.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can find it.
But yeah, we could almost do at least half of a stream about the Mary Celeste.
Oh yeah,
and of course we could do a whole stream about like the Titanic, the Olympic. You know,
oh, you'd have to make that. It's like 3 different. Just especially if you went into the weeds on it.
Yeah, and the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, you're there all day long.
And more up of your neck of the woods, we could do a whole stream about Great Lakes ship disasters and, you know, things.
Oh yeah, like the
like the Edmonton Sheriff.
Yeah, or the couple of nuclear bombs that we have sitting in the Great Lakes.
Oh yeah, Amelia Earhart. That would be another good one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. But yeah, they have they've had a couple of accidental nuclear bomb drops into the.
Yeah, there's some off the east coast of the United States too that accidentally, because of problems or whatever, they jettisoned nuclear bombs into the ocean because they were having technical difficulties. And they were afraid that if they crashed over land, the bomb would go off. So they jettisoned them into the ocean.
Just give me one second.
Amelia Earhart would be a good one. There's a lot of stuff to do with Amelia Earhart. It's funny how you see stuff, then you go to look at it again, you can't find it.
Yeah, it's
the same thing happened to me when I was doing research for this. I found several websites. I was like, oh, that'd be a good talking point for this. And then I go to find it again, and I can't find it. And I'm like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah, it was just here a minute ago, you bastards. Oh, this is supposed to have had it here.
We can't call it by that name, Michael Brent. We have to call it the beer disease or the beer.
Yeah.
Because YouTube, apparently, since it's on like robot mode, because all those people are safely at home, if you start talking about the beer virus by its actual name, then they want to slap your hand.
Yeah,
kind of like our World Wars talk where we had to say Dolphy instead of the actual name.
Yeah, just change the name just slightly.
Yeah,
just a little bit. Just a little bit. Got to clean it up a little bit. But yeah, anyway, it was basically a boat that wasn't supposed to be able to be sunk because it was.
You said it was a large yacht.
Yeah, it's kind of a. I'm trying to find it here. Da, 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 da. Okay. Stupid schooner. That's not what I want. Oh, there it is. If my stupid screen will quit jumping up and down. Is that it? No, that's Australia. That doesn't work. Oh well. Anyway, I found it on YouTube, so I'll. It'll just probably take me too long.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, it just. I mean, it's the Bermuda Triangle is one of those things that I want. We can kind of get into the opinion part now. I guess we're kind of getting towards the end of the stream.
Yeah.
My opinion is it's a combination of air, maybe weather, and other things combined that make these incidents happen. And
Captain
you're
Planet.
also,
I'm sorry. The way you said that just made me think of that.
and in that area, you're also dealing with the Gulf Stream. That's what they talked about, like with Flight 19, is depending on where they actually water landed at, you may think it's here, but the Gulf Stream is moving so fast that by the time the wreckage actually sinks and is caught in the Gulf, because normally, it takes a while for stuff to actually like sink to the bottom.
Yeah,
because there's a certain amount of buoyancy in anything, at least to a degree. So if it gets caught in the Gulf Stream, it could be miles and miles and miles and miles away from where you even think it was.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's 5 of them, so.
Yeah, so even if they all ditched together, if they got caught in the Gulf Stream in the area they were in, I mean, hell, they could be, by the time they actually sunk to the bottom, hell, they could be 30, 40, 50 miles away from where you think they are.
Yeah.
Because normally nothing goes straight to the bottom. I mean, it's at least going to linger somewhat, between the surface and the bottom.
Yeah, it's going to go down. And then if it goes down in the trench, it's even further down.
Yeah, I think it's a series of unfortunate events. Mechanical failure, pilot or captain error, weather.
I mean, it's a very unique area. And I mean, even like if you watch Draining the Bermuda Triangle, if you
I need to go back and watch that again.
Right?
We were talking about it before the stream. I need to watch
some of the like the what do I want to call it? Some of the like just the underwater, like how the seabed is, just the geography of it is nuts.
Yeah, and I think the strange weather patterns. Anybody that's been around Florida, the coast of Florida, knows the weather can change at the drop of a hat. Like you said, I mean, it could be a perfect day, and all of a sudden, a horrible thunderstorm could pop up for an hour.
Yeah,
and if it makes dangerous seas, if your boat's not the best seaworthy, if you're not the best captain, or you make a mistake, if you're not the best pilot, personally, I mean, my thoughts, I think the Bermuda Triangle is just a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah, and not only that, but we always want to blame something else, right? It can't. If there's a lot of tragic events somewhere, it's got to be because of. It can't be us humans being stupid, right?
Well, especially if you can't find evidence of something.
Yeah. Then there's got to be something nefarious going on.
If a ship or a plane is missing, it can't be because you just can't find it for reasons I already mentioned, because it's 80 miles away from where you think it is. It has to be because aliens came down and took the plane and probed the whole crew, and Atlantis suck it up to the bottom of the ocean. Now they live with the mermaids in Atlantis. I mean, it always has to be some kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, or just, something completely bonkers.
I do agree with the geography of the seabed, and I think there is also magnetic anomalies in the area because even to modern times, I mean, there's stories of compasses and things like that acting kind of crazy. So there is apparently some kind of magnetic anomaly in that area or certain areas of the Bermuda Triangle. But
And it might even have something to do with the we were talking about it just a while ago. The gases that come up.
Yeah. And
methane. There we go.
The dormant volcano could still at sometimes emit large amounts of methane gas.
Yeah.
And I think it is somewhat to do with the area, but mostly to me, it's a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
Be it weather, equipment malfunction,
Wrong
error,
place, wrong time.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, I mean, think how many cruise ships and things are in that area every year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of cruises around the Bahamas area every year. And thousands and thousands of flights like out of Miami going places that go through that every year. And nothing, 99% of the time, nothing happens.
Yeah, till you get Captain Wong Way, then you're in the water. You're screwed.
You can't make that stuff up, man. Oh man.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
that's my personal opinion.
I think it's just I think it's just a matter of the geography of the area, the fact that you get really weird weather patterns in that area, and it's just a combination of natural things that you get that wrong place, wrong time, and your number's called.
Well, and if you think about it, as technology has improved, less things are attributed to the Bermuda Triangle, even accidents. Because we have better technology now. We have transponders, we have radar, like Flight 19. If they had proper radar, they would have known exactly where Flight 19 was. And it wouldn't be a mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. It would be the lead pilot screwed up and went the wrong way, and he's like way up there, up the coast of Florida where he shouldn't be, and they ran out of gas and ditched in the ocean, And then if they got caught in the Gulf Stream, the planes could be 30 miles away from where they even can guess where they would be, And that's just so much water to search.
Yeah, and like you said, the current goes through there so quickly that,
between Florida and Bermuda, all up the eastern coast of the United States is the Gulf Stream, and it depends on conditions. And last I read, the Gulf Stream is like 5 or so miles an hour. It can vary depending on conditions, but like we said, if a plane hits the water, it doesn't necessarily sink straight to the bottom right away. So if it slowly starts to sink and it gets caught in the Gulf Stream, it could be so far away from where you even know it crashed by the time it actually comes to rest on the bottom because it got caught in the Gulf Stream.
Same with ships.
Oh yeah. Ships would be the same way. If they're faltering and they're starting to sink and they get caught in the Gulf Stream, and like I said, right now it's going 5 miles an hour. I would have to look up statistics. I don't know how fast it ever goes or how slow it ever goes, but 5 miles an hour, if it takes a while for a ship to actually reach the bottom, it's going to be way, way far away from where you even think an SOS was sent from.
Yeah. Well, even look at ships that aren't lost in those conditions. Titanic.
How long it took to find the Titanic, and they radioed. Up until the point it fucking went under.
Yeah.
the radio man was radioing coordinates, sending SOSs, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
they were still wrong.
Yeah, it still took them how long to find it? I mean, and that was under perfect conditions as far as like communication.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we'd like to really, if we can't explain something, it's got to be, either supernatural or, secret government thing. If we can't explain something, if we can't come up with a tangible reason for something happening, we have to create one because we need that closure. You need that closure, right?
That's how we are as people. Is we need some kind of closure, even if it's a made up weird ass story.
Yeah,
the ship didn't sink and we can't find it. The Bermuda Triangle swallowed up, or aliens stole everybody.
Yeah. It can't be as, and sometimes well, no, I know the captain, he was a good captain, he wouldn't have, blah 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 blah, so it can't be anything to do with captain error, so we've got to find something else that caused it or what happened.
Well, and even in a more modern sense, MH370 that disappeared, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about that because they can't find the actual plane.
Yeah.
And like you said, since they can't find the actual plane, they have to come up with a conspiracy theory. The pilot did this happened, that happened, it was stolen. All the people were kidnapped. The U.S. stole it and took it to a secret government base. I mean, they can't accept the fact that, the dude was fucked up. He flew out over the ocean. It crashed somewhere and we just hadn't found it yet.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, whatever. Like you said, there has to be closure to everything.
Yeah,
I think we as humans, we want closure to everything. We don't like unknowns.
No, we don't.
So even if it's crazy and it's aliens or Atlantis, it's at least it's some kind of closure.
Yeah, and then we have to disprove that, right?
Yeah, I think it's Atlantis. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
If you can't prove me wrong, then I'm going to keep saying it was swallowed up by Atlantis, and now all the crew's living with the mermen in the bubble below the ocean.
There's a ship at the bottom of this triangle that comes up and takes they sail in and then they go back underneath, and that's why you never find anything.
It's like the what was it, the Flying Dutchman or whatever from Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, it comes out
in those theories too that it's an octopus or something, some kind of creature.
Oh yeah, it wasn't in the article I looked at, but yeah, that's you bring up a good point. That's another big theory is it's like a huge octopus that like grabs ships and apparently can reach the sky.
Oh yeah,
and also grab airplanes.
Oh, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, apparently it has a very good reach.
Yeah,
and for some reason, as big as this sea creature is,
nobody's
ever seen it or found it on like sonar or anything.
Yeah, of course. Well, see, they could technically get away with that, but not so much now because we're starting to be able to map the trench. But for the longest time, the trench was the problem because it's the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean is the trench.
Yeah,
that's within the Bermuda Triangle. It is one of the deepest parts of the Atlantic Ocean. So for us to get down there, it's insane. Like the pictures they're taking now, they send down literally a camera and then it comes back up. And it's just taking like 10 feet around the camera, this contraption they've got.
That's not the same as the Mariana Trench, is it? Because I don't believe it is. It may be like I was just wondering because I saw an article about the Mariana Trench that they've kind of like you're talking about and slightly off topic is they and as technology has improved, they've been able to go deeper and deeper into the Mariana Trench, which is like we've explored space more than we've explored the Mariana Trench.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the funny things, slightly off topic, is the slope as the Mariana Trench goes down, and I forget now what depth it was at, but they found a can of Spam.
Oh, yeah.
Like a full intact, sealed can of Spam just hanging out like on the slope of the Mariana Trench.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking. Yeah, the Kraken. That's what we said, like big octopus or big sea monster. But yeah, I guess it would technically be the Kraken.
Yeah. Release the Kraken.
Yeah. Hold on just a second. I'm not ignoring you. I'm doing something real quick. I apologize to anybody that my background, the window is kind of bright, but I'm going old school. I'm not doing the green screen right now. I'm just letting my office be the background. A lot of people don't know because normally I would use my office background at night, and there's actually a window behind me. It leads like to the real world. This isn't
at least that's what they told you.
Well, yeah. They also told me third time's a charm.
Yeah, well, so, apparently for a certain class of ship, it ain't.
Yeah.
Fourth time's a charm either. No, they sunk it.
Sith Lord, good to see you, bro. Yeah, the Kraken. That's what we should have said. That's the buzzword for it. The Kraken.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken. Kraken is also very good dark rum. If you're into rum.
No, I don't like the aftertaste.
I like rum only in certain occasions. I like a drink called a dark and stormy.
Okay.
Which is rum and a lot of places cheap out and they make it with ginger ale. A true dark and stormy is made with like good ginger beer, like got some ginger bite ginger beer.
Okay.
And they pour it. They don't mix the drink together when they pour it. The way the viscosity of the I drew a fucking blank. The viscosity of the rum compared to the ginger beer makes it look like a menacing like thunderstorm cloud coming.
Oh, cool.
Because it's like darker and lighter. Or vice versa. I forget exactly. I hadn't had one in a while. I forget exactly how it is. But you mix it together. That's all it is: a ginger beer and rum. But it's called a dark and stormy because it looks like a stormy sky, basically. But it's pretty good. That I'm not a big fan of rum either, personally. The only time I've ever really liked rum is a dark and stormy. I've had it, of course, in like fruity vacation drinks.
Oh,
but to me, it's too sweet. And
I can't do fruity. I can't do too fruity drinks because I get like wicked hangovers. Like the worst hangover I ever had was homemade strawberry wine. That stuff and me do not get along. It's like, no, that's a hard pass because anytime I've tried to have like strawberry wine, even like store-bought, not the homemade stuff, it's like, that's a hard pass. And it sucks because I like it. But, the hangover the next day. Oh, forget that.
Yeah, I like to try to keep. I mean, we've kind of talked about the Bermuda Triangle, so we're slightly off topic now. But
yeah,
I like to keep my drink simple because the more complicated a drink is, the more likelihood you're going to get a horrible hangover.
Yeah,
especially the more like sugar and weird shit that's in it.
Yeah,
I mean, really the most complicated drink I drink is a Bloody Mary, but. You know, I normally either drink beer or I drink like vodka-based drinks like vodka and soda. I do like bourbon, but if I drink bourbon, I drink it neat or on the rocks.
I like a nice tequila paralyzer.
Tequila sun. I like a nice tequila sunrise, but me and tequila don't get along very well.
If you like the tequila sunrise, it makes it a little bit sweeter. But I used to date a woman, and I used to drink tequila a lot when I was younger, and because I found I had a high tolerance to it, so I used to drink a lot of it, but she was allergic to it, so I couldn't drink it when I dated her.
Oh, really?
But I liked my tequila sunrises and my tequila paralyzers. So my cure for the tequila sunrise was you replace the tequila with Southern Comfort.
Oh, now Southern Comfort's a good one.
And you mix it exactly like you make a tequila sunrise, except you replace the tequila with the Southern Comfort. It makes it a little bit more of a sweeter drink, but it goes down just as smooth.
I'd have to try that. I do like some Southern Comfort. Being a Southerner, I do like some Southern Comfort.
Yeah, but if you ever have to switch it out between tequila for the sunrise, the Southern Comfort works well. So I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, that's the only thing about Southern Comfort is technically isn't it a liqueur because it has all that other shit added to it.
Yeah, and then if you add it to the sunrise, you don't want to have too many, but if you're just having a sip drink,
yeah, and typically the more, like I said, in my experience, typically the more stuff other than alcohol you add to things, that's when you start worrying about hangover territory.
Yeah, or
sugar and weird shit,
or how many different alcohols you have.
Oh yeah,
drink beer, tequila, rye, and rum, you're done the next day. Or beer, rye, and wine, that's a bad combination.
And honestly, the purest drink to me to not get a hangover, because we went off topic already anyway.
Yeah,
is vodka and soda with lime, because part of the reason you get a hangover is dehydration. So if you mix the vodka with the soda, that gives you water, and the lime gives you, vitamin C and some other nutrients, to kind of help not get a hangover. And vodka is kind of the purest alcohol, so to speak, as far as like impurities. Whereas like bourbon or something like that, with its dark color and everything, it has like more impurities in it technically than like vodka.
Yeah. Well, my dad, and I don't know why this works, and it might just be our gene pool are screwed, but for drinking tequila, my dad taught me how to drink it the way he does, and my dad used to be able to drink it from morning to night if he wanted to, and I found that I could drink a lot of tequila if I did it this way, which is after every third shot you have a shot of Zambuca.
Really?
It sounds really freaking weird, but it's worked for me. Every third, like I used to drink double tequila paralyzers, and after every third, I'd have a shot of Zambuca, and it just kind of keeps you on that even keel.
I haven't heard that. I've heard, since now we're the liquor cast. I've heard that like every drink, like if you're drinking like a liquor drink, every liquor drink then have water, or every 2 liquor drinks have a water, or every 2 or 3 beers have a water, because supposedly that's what really gives you the hangover is dehydration.
See, but my problem with drinking water is I find that it actually gets me sick faster. I don't know why.
Adding all that water on top of what's already going on in your stomach. Yeah,
uh-huh.
I don't do that either. If I'm really worried about a hangover, I drink vodka and soda with lime, because I figure I get my alcohol to do my alcohol thing. I get some vitamin C and some other nutrients from the lime, and I get water at the same time. So I hope they counteract each other to where I stay hydrated.
My drink is my drink's a choice. He's either Scotch on the rocks or rye and Coke, or once in a while, I'll have a tequila paralyzer if I'm at the bar. But the only problem with the tequila paralyzer is unless you have a bartender who can actually, that's an actual bartender, not just some dude they hired to pour drink.
Yeah, like an actual bartender, not
They
just
can,
slap
they,
shit together.
yeah, because the risk you run, especially once you start drinking and you're not paying attention to your glass as much, which happens after about 10 of them, right? You don't pay attention to your glass as much. The problem with drinking a paralyzer is if it's not mixed right, by the time you get from the bar to your chair, it's curdled.
Really?
Yeah, it's that fast.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
If it mixes wrong, if it's mixed wrong, the milk will curdle by the time you get to your seat.
Yeah, see, I'm not a big fan of milk in any alcoholic drink. Period.
Yeah. And that's what a paralyzer is. It's tequila or vodka, depending. I can't stand vodka, so it's always tequila. Kahlua, milk, and pop. But if you mix the pop and the milk wrong, you curdle the milk. The pop will curdle the milk.
See,
by the time you get to your chair.
So I'm not a big fan of any alcohol mixed with soft or pop, as you would call it. I'm not a big fan of mixing anything with soft drinks, like anything sweet, like Coke or Sprite or anything like that.
Well, for me, a rye and Coke is okay, or a rye on the rocks, or a Scotch on the rocks isn't bad.
Random Bread Creator, good to see you, man.
But anyway, back to our topic before we sound like a bunch of raging alcoholics.
Oh, I mean, come on, man. This is called Bloody Mary Brunch.
Well, yeah.
I purposely have a stream designed for me to drink Bloody Marys and talk about shit that's on the internet. So if anybody sounds like an alcoholic, it's me.
It hurts the middle of the day. Liver just thinking about it.
It's the middle of the day. Yeah, it's the middle of the day for me, and I'm drinking Bloody Marys.
See what I laugh at this stream is this stream reminds me of me in the summertime when I used to do when I used to do security. I used to work the weekends all the time. I'd always get that damn weekend shift because the people who had the Monday, because I work 4 on, 3 off. 3 on, 4 off. And I always work either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because the people who had the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shift, or the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shift, had the higher seniority.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, okay, fine. So I'm taking... So... And I mean, it was great. You had 4 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off. Yay. So, but I always work the weekend. So all weekend, while I'm freaking working 12-hour shifts, I'd be getting calls. Oh yeah, we're out at the lake. Da 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 da. So Monday morning would be my revenge day. I purposely wait till about 8:30 till I know they're in the middle of rush hour traffic, and I take a picture of me out on the lake with my fishing rod in hand, especially if they're a fishing buddy. Monday morning, I know they're in rush hour traffic, and you just take a picture of you sitting on the shoreline with the fishing pole. How's your morning, buddy?
See, I'm the same way because my job's all about seniority. So I have Wednesday, Thursday off, which is why I do this stream on Thursday afternoons because this is my Sunday basically.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I live very close to my local river. I have kayaks. I like to kayak. I like to fish. So in the summertime, I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, y'all chumps are at work. I'm out here on the river by myself because everybody else is at work. I have the whole river to myself. I'm fucking picnicking. I'm fishing. I'm swimming. I'm having a great time. And y'all chumps are at work. You know?
Yeah.
And
how's that grind going for you?
Yeah, you go
today.
And the times I have been off on the weekends, you try to go over to the river on the weekend, and it's fucking packed.
Oh yeah, you get everybody and their dog.
Yeah, you can't have fun because there's so many people there, and it's like I would actually rather have the middle of the week off in the summer, especially because I can go do what I want to do, and I'm basically almost the only person out there other than like some old retired people. And
Oh,
there's a few, there may be like a few of them,
yeah, yeah, and it's great too because I used to love it because I hate going to bars where if I do go to the bar, when I used to go to the bar, I had 3 rules for a bar. If the bar broke one of these 3 rules, I would no longer be at this bar. 1, if I have to stand in line to get a drink, I am no longer at this bar.
Yeah.
If I cannot sit down, I am no longer at this bar. And if the music is so loud that I can't hear the person sitting beside me, I am no longer at this bar.
That's very good rules, actually, because I don't want to beg you to take my money. I don't want to stand up and drink my drink because if I drink enough of them, I don't want to be able to stand up anyway.
Yeah.
And I want to conversate. That's the whole thing of going to a bar is to socialize with people. So
yeah. And I do not want to be standing in line. Or and the 4th rule, if I see a lineup at the door that I have to wait a stupid amount of time to get into said bar, this is an automatic fail. And I do not care how popular said bar is.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with me wanting to be at your bar.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to the bar, whether you're popular or not, I'm going for my own set reasons. And if I'm going to go to the bar, it's to get a little happy, at least, if not more than happy, and to mingle with people. And that's basically it.
Yeah. I have no.
Because if not, I can just drink at home by myself or with somebody else.
Yeah. I have no interest in standing in your parking lot for a half an hour, and and then another half an hour in line at the bar to get the damn drink, and then another hour of walking around like an idiot trying to find a spot to sit down. Yeah. These are not things that I consider a good night out.
Well, I agree with you 100%.
So I usually end up in a dive karaoke bar.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. That would be cool. I like dive bars. I like to go to Key West. We're talking about the Keys again, which kind of goes along with this Flight 19 story I was saying. But I love to go to Key West, and there's a lot of like big name bars there. And the one that I like to go to is a big name bar, but it's more of a dive bar. So I prefer to go there than to like the really big, super popular bars because first of all, it's like an older crowd. I mean, I'm almost 41. I don't want to hang out with like 21-year-olds and listen to like dance music.
Yeah, so, and I'm a country boy, so
music. I like to go to the more dive bar that has like a guy playing the guitar and taking requests. Yeah, and you can go to the bar and get a drink without waiting in line, and it's like dark and seedy, and you can smoke cigarettes in there and shit.
Yeah, so. I'm the guy that's going to like. There's one bar right near my place that I've been going to since I used to sneak in when I was 17, and I don't even drink anymore. I just go to the bar, I sing my karaoke, and I'm good to go. Have a couple of Cokes. Once in a while, I'll have a beer, but I don't drink as much as I used to because my kidneys. So. But still go out and sing karaoke. It's fun.
Which is cool. I like to sing. I only sing karaoke on YouTube, but I like to sing karaoke. I haven't done that
yet because I haven't figured out how the hell you do it without getting nailed.
Well, you'll always get a copyright claim. You just won't get a copyright strike.
Okay.
Because I do it like this Sunday. I have my show, shameless plug. This Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I have my show Name That Tune, where the DJ plays the tune and people try to guess it without any lyrics. I always get a copyright claim. I never get a copyright strike. There's a difference. A copyright claim just means it can't be monetized, which I'm not monetized anyway.
Yeah, and then
And
the strike is the one that kills your channel.
yeah, the strike is the one where you basically steal somebody else's material and try to profit from it. And if you get too many copyright strikes, they basically nuke your channel. But a copyright claim, especially if you're not monetized, a copyright claim doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Basically, it just means you can't monetize it. So even if you're monetized, you can still get super chats. Like the channel where I sing karaoke, which another shameless plug, Mary Mayhem. If anybody knows Mary Mayhem, she does karaoke now on Friday nights. It's happening tomorrow night. I'll be there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
She does karaoke, and I'll be there tomorrow night. She is monetized. She's a bigger channel, obviously, than I am. She gets a copyright claim, which just means it can't be monetized, but she can still take super chats.
Okay.
And like Tommy said, three copyright strikes and your channel gets
done.
Copyright claim just means it can't be monetized like after the fact. Like if this was copyright claimed and I was monetized,
how do you get approved for karaoke?
You have to talk to Mary Mayhem and
okay. Cool.
But on that note, I think we've kind of went on a tangent. We're just over 2 hours, so I'm trying to kind of keep it to 2 hours. So I think we've kind of done our Bermuda Triangle thing. Once again, bro, I appreciate you being here, Rambling Canuck.
No problem.
Go on again. Tell everybody where they can find you.
On Twitter, it's Robert R. Knowles 1. On YouTube, it is Rambling Canuck. Most of my live streams have my Discord channel in it has the link in the bottom of most of my live streams and most of my videos. I do basic sci-fi. I do live streams. No real set times. But for the most part, I try to do mornings or evenings. We're trying to get some bit of a schedule going between myself and another channel. And I do the Picard review every Thursday, which we only have one more. So,
okay. Let's see. What's Jefferson? I let my geese know it on streams and try to pump them for cash to listen with me. It never works, silly geese. If your geese start pumping out money, I can DM you my address, and if you would share that money with me, I would appreciate it. But yeah, if you I hit the wrong button. If you look in the description below, you'll see Rambling Canuck's YouTube channel. Go to his YouTube channel. Everybody subscribe. He's been on with me now a couple times. I think we all, in my opinion anyway, we have a great time when we get together and talk.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Crazy shit or historical stuff. And like I said, shameless plug, Mary Mayhem on Mary Mayhem's channel. She does karaoke tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time on her channel. And I'm going to do Name That Tune Sunday night at 8 p.m. on my channel. Oh, Mandy. Hail, Mandy. Hail, Mandy Summers, the princess of the Comics Gate. Worth the Wizard. Everybody go back, Worth the Wizard. How are you doing, darling? You caught us just at the end. We're about ready to sign off. We've been talking about the Bermuda Triangle while I've been drinking Bloody Marys and getting day drunk. Mandy will actually be on Name That Tune this Sunday. She's always on Name That Tune. She's a big competitor.
Usually beating DJ.
Yeah. But everybody, if this is your first time here, I have seen one or two people that I don't recognize. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to me. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HanstarYT. I normally do 2 live streams a week, and I'm trying to get more into videos, but I haven't yet because I'm a procrastinator. But I do Bloody Mary brunch every Thursday, and then I have bi-weekly streams. I do Name That Tune one week, and then the next Sunday I do Jackbox Game Night, which I just started last Sunday.
And it
So
went
this
flawlessly.
yeah. You smart ass. Yeah, it went
Flawlessly.
It went. If you mean flawlessly by the meaning that for like the first 45 minutes of the stream, I wasn't there because I was trying to get my.
Admit these things. You're just supposed to go along with it.
Yeah, it went flawlessly after it took me like an hour.
The guy up for perfection, and he just won't take it.
Yeah, after it took me like an hour to get my fucking Windows computer to actually.
Nobody needed to know that.
Yeah, I am not on my Windows computer now, as a matter of fact.
No, that one's out the window.
Screw Windows. It's still here. It's still here under my desk. It's just I don't enjoy my Windows computer. But I appreciate everybody being here today. I appreciate Canuck being with me again. This is the second conversation like this we've had, kind of doing the. I don't know. We went necessarily as deep with this as we did with the World Wars, but I still think we covered the high points at least.
Yeah, it was it meant to be a fun one, and
yeah, if we tried to dive super deep, it would be like a 6-part stream.
Yeah. But I think
you really wanted to get into it.
Yeah, I think one of these weeks we're gonna have to do the three sisters, the Olympic, the Britannic, and the Titanic.
Oh, I'm totally down. Well, we can talk about this after the stream. We can work it out later. But like I said, next Bloody Mary brunch, I have no idea what the topic will be. But join me next Thursday for Bloody Mary brunch. I kind of just shoot off the cuff.
It'll be right after the final.
we can totally do that. We can talk about it after the stream because that's totally another great topic / mystery / conspiracy theory.
And I wouldn't have to do too much research for that one, which is great because next week is the Picard final, and I'm either going to be really pissed off and need to be cheered up, or I'm going to be really happy. One of the two. There's no real middle ground there. I'm either going to be really, really pissed off, or I'm going to be okay. It was.
I would have to do a little bit of research. I mean, I kind of know the ins and outs of that story and the conspiracy theory to do with that story. I would have to brush up just a little bit. But
even the Britannic is a really interesting story because it's the last one of the sisters that was made.
Yeah,
and not only that, but it's like they're even on a ship where we know why it sunk and how it's why it sunk and kind of what happened. They're still arguing over it, whether it was a German torpedo or if it was a mine.
Yeah.
And even though they've kind of proven it, they still kind of go, no, it was a torpedo. No, it was a mine. So yeah, even in that sense,
yeah, they're still arguing about it. And I had to bring one of my moderators in, Sith Lord. What's up, bro?
About damn time you let me in, you drunk.
Hey, Sith.
I appreciate you being here. Even if you're a little bit late, that's no problem.
Well,
we were just talking.
Bad. I was up till easily 7 o'clock this morning, so I really overslept.
Oh, no worries. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate my mods, Sith Lord. You're always here when I'm doing stuff. Jade Spider-Man's here when Mandy and other Comicsgate people are here. Both of y'all are great mods. Tommy hanging out in the chat. Everybody hanging out in the chat today.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see Tommy back after his internet issue and his illness.
Yeah, and with Mandy here, I have to say, go back Ward the Wizard.
Yes, please.
I need to bring my
Sith. I went the last time I was in one of my favorite hardware stores. I got very, very mad because I thought I was going to be able to do something for you, and they pissed me off. Well, I was going through the hardware section. I found a blue hammer. I found a blue screwdriver set, a blue ratchet set.
I know where you're going.
And then they bloody well had a pink wrench a bloody red wrench, but no bloody blue wrench. But they had the blue hammer, the blue freaking screwdriver, and the blue ratchet set, but no bloody blue wrench. I was like, oh, come on, you sons of...
That's all right. This one's better. It's not blue, but it works.
It still makes that satisfying thunk sound.
Well, no, but that's all right. I just said I was going to get some of that, blue painter's tape.
Yeah, well, see, I wanted
to wrap it up.
See, what I wanted to do is I wanted to find it, and then one day when I was running a stream with you, I was going to go, I got something for you, and I was going to flip on the camera and see if I could make you laugh. But,
beat me to the punch. I see. Okay.
But, unfortunately, the store's a little stupid.
Well, you do live in freaking Canada, eh?
Well, yeah, they're, and it was in St. Boniface, so they are French, so they are ass backwards. So,
you do live in Canada.
Canadian. Yeah, I've caught myself saying that a few times. I'm like, what did I just say?
I dropped a couple links. That's Mandy Summers' YouTube channel. I also dropped Wart the Wizard, which is currently in demand, but it's not going to be in demand for much longer. You need to go back the book Wart the Wizard.
Yes, please.
If you know other reason to back it, Sith and I are going to be in the book. We're drawn into the book. So even if you don't like Wart Wizards and D&D kind of stuff, which Wart the Wizard's kind of D&D based, Sith and I are going to be in it. So if you need no other reason to back it other than that,
yep,
our handsome faces are going to be in it.
There's the preliminary art for mine. I asked Han to change his picture out to his, but apparently that van's more important. So
I'm known for my van, man.
I know.
Wait a minute, I think I may actually have that picture on here. Let me look.
Because
oh, I do. Yeah.
While
there we go.
Man, we should be promoting Mandy, right?
Yeah. There's the concept of my character.
Nice.
Yeah, he's going to be a bar owner, and I'm going to be a toy shop owner. Because I'm light-hearted like that.
But I'm gonna bow out because I gotta go to the washroom, and I'm gonna grab another coffee. But we're wrapping up anyway, so I'm gonna.
And also back, not to interrupt you, also back Rocket Gal and the Mole Men of Mars, White Holiday, Peter Gilmore, Mandy Summers is editor. That's another great Comicsgate book to get to back. I always rep the Phantom Menace and Comicsgate. Make comics great again, backs Comicsgate projects. Rambling Canuck, I really appreciate you being here with me again. I love talking to you and having conversations and deep diving into all these things that my wife thinks I'm weird for worrying about or talking about, like the World Wars. My wife, if I talked about the World Wars, she'd be like, "Shut the fuck up."
Well, I had to laugh because when I told my son about that stream, my son's immediate reaction was, he knows who he's talking to, right? He knows that he's never going to get off that stream, because that's all I do is watch history. If I'm not making a video or watching somebody else's live stream, you can almost guarantee I'm either watching something on World War II ships, World War II ocean liners. I'm in a history mode if I'm not watching something that somebody within the community is doing.
But I appreciate you being here again, Canuck. We'll talk soon. I don't know, it'll be next week, but we can talk about doing the Olympic, Britannic, Titanic saga. Anything else, that would be another good conversation. I'm sure we could fill at least a couple hours with. So,
absolutely.
I appreciate you being here as always. Everybody look in the description in the bottom. You'll find his YouTube channel. And we're fixed to sign off anyway. Sith, I appreciate you being here, my mod brother.
No problem, man.
Appreciate you showing up, man. chopping up in the chat. Canuck, I appreciate you being here. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate you being here. Mandy, good to see you, darling. Everybody back with the Wizard, back Rocket Gal by White Holiday, Peter Gilmore, Mandy Summers is the editor. Back the Comics Gate stuff, back the Phantom Menace stuff. He didn't come on cam.
I'm about to pull a miss here, yo. Back it, or else.
But everybody, I'm about out of Bloody Marys anyway, and we've discussed our topics. So everybody have a good day, good evening, good morning, whatever it is where you're at. Join me next Thursday for Bloody Mary Brunch. Join me this Sunday for Name That Tune. And until then, I'm fixing to sign off, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate my guests being here. Sith being here. Until then, I'll see everybody next time. Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Take it easy.
If this is your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HanstarYT. Good night, everybody.